It's time to check out the part 2 of the mega pan India producers roundup 2024 by Galatta Plus with Baradwaj Rangan. I've already seen part 1. You can check it out here where the tensions were high between two people and what happened. My thoughts on it, you can check it out there. But let's continue this roundtable. If you haven't seen the original, I'll put the link in the description. You can check it out on Galatta Plus channel. This is a reaction or a substitute to it. Let's see where the conversation goes from here. It ended at a very interesting point. By the way, the channel membership is live. If you like the content a lot, if you want to support the channel, you can become a member. Get to watch such videos early and some member-only reactions. To know more, click on the join button and let's check it out.
You had a point about theatres.
See, because I run theatres, right? And it has become an expensive
interesting.
proposition.
Yeah.
Right. So when you are asking audiences to come to theatres to watch, to take the whole temple, God, whatever the analogy is, they are going to put in their hard-earned money and they're going to spend 3 to 3.5 hours of their time watching a film, right?
I actually made a whole video about this. Check it out. I'll link it. How theaters are killing cinema. And interesting, I raised some interesting points. You can let me know your thoughts about that.
And even for theaters to sort of give showcasing, if we don't get about 35 audiences, it doesn't make any sense, number of people to watch a show. It doesn't make any sense for us to even run it, because you can't pay the electricity bill. Leave the manpower cost or anything else, you just can't pay the electricity bill. So there is a challenge as well, because everything has gotten expensive. So for audiences to come into theatres, they have to decide, if a family of 4 comes in, minimum spend in the south is 1,000, north is much more. So if they have to take that, and that's a good amount of money for any family to be able to spend.
Even in South, when the superstar films releases, or whether it's Tamil cinema or Telugu cinema, the ticket rates on the first 2-3 days, couple of days, especially the first day, they go into thousands. And still you have people, I have seen, when I first saw Ajit film releasing, it released at, I think, 1 a.m. in the morning after the previous film. And I was shocked. There were almost about 20,000-25,000 people outside the theatre. And after I came out from the show which I saw, which was at 1 a.m., it ended around 3:34. There was still about 20,000-25,000 people to get in. And the same thing happened later. And I'm told the same thing happens with the Rajinikanth film. The same thing happens with a Chiranjeev film. Now, the present day stars, whether it is Junior NTR, whether it is Charan Raj, whether it is Mahesh Babu, same thing happens. There are ticket rates which are inflated for the first 2 days or first day for extra shows, which is why today this situation has arisen where unnecessarily Allu Arjun was dragged and was blamed for a death of a. It was only because of the kind of crowd which had gathered to see the film.
So the early
that is kind of a separate thing.
Morning shows are for big stars. You name Rajni sir, Vijay sir, Ajit sir. That is part of the culture that is there. And you're talking about a fan base which is willing to pay that much. But I'm talking about family audiences. A success of a film is only derived when the families come in. The first 2 days, 3-day opening, you will not make your money, because you're anyway paying for the star to get that opening, right?
The honest fact is the exhibitors, they swallow most of the money. They tell
not at all. Not at all. Not anymore. Not anymore.
I'm not talking about you.
I'm telling you, because
you see,
now he's looking at you as a producer, not as an exhibitor.
There is no way you can keep a check, because you see, it is the manager who goes up to the terrace and sees what kind of response the film has.
Now with Tamil Nadu, we don't have early morning shows. We only have a 9 a.m. show. So that craziness, that craziness is there.
It becomes an exhibitor panel, but there's another film that we must also talk about.
One more film I want to talk about. When it released,
he's being what are they called? Boomer? I don't know. Like he wants to talk and he's being that old guy, like, okay, you guys are kids, let me talk.
It didn't get shows, it failed miserably. Laila Majnu of Imtiaz Ali. It re-released now, which is why the re-release of old films has started. Laila Majnu. In the first release, it had not even done business of 8-9 crores. And in the re-release, it has collected 30 crores.
So that is because of Tripti Dimki, sir. Because that came out after Animal.
No.
That's the way I see it.
Yeah. That's the way, no. So I want to ask you this, right? So there is this discussion.
We accepted.
No, same thing. What he's now saying is based on recall value, immediate craze. 100%. He made a film called DJ Tillu, which was super hit. And he made it, which he said it didn't do the business it could have. The sequel smashed it, okay? Which brings us to where the whole world is. Hollywood was there for 15 years with Marvel, DC, and the franchise. I think the franchise today is the thing of recall value, just like cash point.
Yeah.
That's something that they are specialists at. That I would love to hear from them.
Right.
That was always the case in Hollywood.
Today it's become here, na? Part 2, Part 3.
When you're talking about, see, the discussion has been about, let's forget the money. Let's just talk about good films and bad
This is
films.
only talking about
But
money.
you can't forget about
No. No. Right. Okay. So maybe I'm paraphrasing, but let's listen. So let's not talk about the money. Let's talk about whether it's a good film or a bad film. So that's that's part of what happened, right? But first of all, I'm a little confused about it because I think good films, bad films, those are subjective criteria. So I'm not really I find it a little difficult to say good films run, bad films don't run, whatever it is. It's more like what films are accepted.
Nobody can decide which film is good, which film is
Right.
bad.
But what I want to ask you is, the reason I'm talking about the change of model is because, see, at one point in the Telugu film industry, a Shankarabharanam was a blockbuster.
Yeah.
Like if you take if you do an adjustment of thing, it will probably be 500 crores today. Right?
Shankarabharanam ran for 1 year. She's saying people are thinking twice about coming to the theatre and spending that kind of money for that kind of film in the first 2 weeks. Correct?
But first of all, also number of screens have increased, guys. So there is no concept of 100 days.
No. So I'm talking about the kind of film being made, right? Yeah. So we're again talking about Sagara Sangamam, same director. We're talking about, there are different, of course, maybe when a Chiranjeevi tried to do an offbeat role or something like Abad Bandhavul or something like that, maybe that might not have, done too well. But the point is, when certain directors attempted certain subjects, they did really, really well because it's a huge family audience, right? That family audience has now kind of really gone down. This is what I hear.
No.
When you, from the Telugu film industry, given the fact that you make the most event films and the most talked about event films in India today, what is your take on this situation?
We'll have a second thought whether to make it or not. Then it will all depend on the OTT thing, how much we're getting out from the OTT, so that we'll have a lesser risk on the theaters and all. So when these kind of calculations come, we think twice to make good films again. We only think to make films which make money.
That's so honest.
The commercial aspect comes.
Yeah, definitely, right?
Fair enough.
But again, this is also
It's like, Boni Kapoor has so much to say because of his experience, and he cannot stop himself.
subjective individual opinion.
That is
when
something which
Archana ji
has
said
always
that
happened.
theaters have to be filled. That is the main criteria for us. The theaters have to be filled.
No, fair enough. Yeah. No,
See, when Ashwini Dutt and Nag Ashwin made this comedy film with newcomers,
Jatiratnalu, yes.
he probably made more money in that film than he's ever made. I mean, of course, before Kalki.
Yeah, definitely.
And
Yep.
similarly, you see, in Hindi, although there are several instances where films with no star cast have done phenomenal business. For instance, you see, when Rajkumar Rao became a known face, it was with films which never had that kind of budget or that kind of push. There are so many actors. I distributed Sparsh, which ran for 25 weeks on merit in Bombay. On merit. Nobody was ready to touch that film.
This is Nasiruddin
Nasir
Shah.
Saab playing a
and
visually
Shoma.
impaired
So I
person.
distributed the film all India. And I covered the money
Okay.
only by overseas sales. And it ran in Bombay for 25 weeks. But it didn't collect 100 crore. It was a successful film. ROI was...
ROI, that's what we mentioned that earlier.
See, people, this is something, it's a kind of a business where you've got to keep commerce in mind too and keep creativity in mind too. There's got to be a good balance.
Right.
You just don't have to, go after commercial aspects.
The concept of a limited release that exists in Hollywood is a systemathed concept.
right.
It
But
doesn't exist here. The
No,
way it does.
it
So in
did.
different industrial rules.
No. I'll just tell you. This Rashtriya picture Dulan,
Very much a uncle behavior.
wahi jo PR
But see, we in our society respect uncle, right? He's adult. So here also it's not about all of them are producers and on the same level. He is old, he is experienced, and you have to, like that our culture taught us to respect an elder when he's speaking. So, it's not that it's an equal platform, everyone has a say. Why is he talking so much, so
Raman Bhai.
No, I'm not. I'm talking about currently. So today, I'm not talking about ever in history. I was just saying that today, every
See, that
week,
release in one
the
theatre.
producer's share becomes less and less as the film stays in theaters. That's the general model, right?
Right.
So in a limited release, if it's the same thing, by the time the film gets word of mouth and sustains, even if it's in minimal number of screens, what comes back to the producer as an ROI keeps diminishing week after week. So if at all anything, if there's a way to make that kind of select niche model for independent films to go to the cinema, so that they don't have to, you can't have competition between
Right.
completely different, unequal
But
categories.
that is also, even in the US, that
I have to say one thing, that now it has become so open that everyone's just talking about, they're not like Balajan has to ask a question and one person will answer. And, when I think a roundtable should be like this, where everyone just adding inputs what they're talking about. It's a very natural, organic discussion.
that happens only for a certain kind of film, where because, like you
I'll
said,
give you an example.
And
Johnny
those
Depp
films
came
are
from
funded.
Pirates of the Caribbean. His next film after that was Rum Diaries, which was a 100-screen release.
Right.
So top star like him
No,
coming off the biggest
now
Bruckheimer film to that.
again coming back to the present, when you look at it, it's only a Sean Baker's or Nora, movies like that that kind of, which are, I don't know how, just to clarify, randomly I'm just saying maybe award kind of films or whatever it is, which are seen by a good number of people but not like huge masses, right? Those get slow thing and grow by word of mouth. But even today the US is facing a problem. But did you finish the point that you were making about, how the money is important? And
Yeah, definitely. That's what I was saying. We make money so that we get back our investment, whatever we invest. So, but films like Jersey give you a lot of satisfaction, like Lucky Bhaskar. See, I'm in Bombay. Boni sir, when I said that I made Lucky Bhaskar, he said, he wanted to watch it. These kind of films give us different kind of satisfaction. But see, when you weigh them, money is more important for us.
I think
No, I
taking
would
from
just want-
his,
yeah,
sorry,
please,
please.
you go ahead.
No, I mean, I think there was something very honest in what he said. Eventually, as we're talking
You
here.
all are being honest.
No, I know.
You're not
No,
confident.
no.
He's
No, I'm just saying.
spoken about.
Okay, again an uncle behavior.
No,
You all have spoken
he
is,
has, but
is with
what?
all honesty.
No, absolutely. No, I'm just saying.
And you
what
can
he-
check the figures.
No. I have no doubt about it. What I'm saying is he brought out a point which is a very important point for this discussion because we're representing the producers part of it. And the point that he said is they tried making 2 films. But at the end of it, the business matters. So now they've decided, okay, since the business matters, let's go into the event kind of films. Now coming back to the questions what we are talking about is, so he said now he'll go only for he'll prefer the event films because it recovers money. And as a producer, you're not making it, we can make a DVD and show it at home or to our friends. We meant to recover the cost. That's when it's successful.
especially when you want to show it only in 3D,
Even if it's a 2 crore movie, you have to recover cost to be successful. It is important that you recover
See,
cost.
today,
So I just want to finish this point. So his point is, so what's the way forward? Like we have this and we have this. What is the way forward? I'm going to come back to Archana, okay, is really about the exhibitor. Right? Now we have to look at it from the exhibitor's point. I mean, they are also a business entity. They need to recover. Everybody is here is a business entity. Everybody has to recover cost. So how
Logical point.
How does that work? Because the issue right now we have to agree is you cannot get shows.
No,
That's
what
a
I'm
fact.
saying.
So now coming to your point, shows, would it be so difficult? See, a small film will get a morning show or an afternoon show, or very difficult to get a properly done evening show. And if you take Bonnie's point that, entertainment is not going to go out of this. People want to go to the theater. If you put a lovely film in a good show,
It doesn't work.
No, I mean, see,
It doesn't work.
Not
I'm sorry
always.
to say, I've been doing this for 8
That I agree with that, Chana. Like, I know if you it's such a, like, that's why the hype for a film is like Pushpa. They have so many shows. They will, someone or the other will find, okay, this time is shooting for this time, because there's so many options also. But a smaller film just having one show a day, for me, if it's a very far away show, like 80 kilometers, I have to travel. I need to plan it. If it's an afternoon show, it's a morning show, I have to leave very early. If a night show, I'll be coming back late, very late home. So there's so many things you have to calculate, and it's just me because I'm that's my work. But not everyone thinking like that. What is comfortable to them, then only they'll go watch it, even if they are like with a great film should be made. But yeah, for them convenience matters more.
18 years.
I mean,
I've been running this business for 18 years.
sometimes, look, and then
Doesn't
comes the
work.
marketing. Now comes the marketing. For example, today, if the exhibitor has started charging for the trailering, has started charging for standee, and yet they are having half of the business going to them. I don't understand. Like, I have always a fight with the exhibitor saying, excuse me, there's a 50-50 sharing. You can't now I have to pay for a trailering and to put my standee, and you walk away with the business. There is no marketing. So the small producer, what does he do? It has to come to a point where
But again, the point comes to the exhibitor, right? Like if they cannot maintain the theater, they cannot run the all the money they have to pay for it to run, then they have to come up with different things to make money, because the audience is not coming that often, because of the high ticket prices, because the even sometimes not just the exhibitors, the producers asking to charge so much money for a ticket, because we have made a big film, we have to recover money.
there is some
this
kind
way-
of a
But if I were to be really brutal, and consider, yeah, see, I,
Which
you
hat
should,
are you
you should
wearing?
not have
First
said
you
this,
decide.
but to,
I mean, I didn't mean to. I'm just.
No, no,
Wears all the hats. No, this is a
I'm all-
producer, distributor,
and-
exhibitor.
Oh
in a
my
panel,
God.
She'll be alone
The
because she does all
yeah.
three.
No, but okay, I'm going to come back to her, but I want to talk to Dawn. See, now the thing you brought up, Payal Kapadia's film, right? Right now, that is an international co-production. Now, even there, it's difficult to put across these films together, because they get some funds from the Netherlands, something from France, something from somewhere, something from a little bit from India. So I don't even know if we can call that an Indian film technically, because it's like many co-productions. They are like throughout the
pan-global
world.
film.
Pan-global film. Now, when you make your film, is that a way out for you? Are you planning to, with Artisan Films, how are you planning to bring the funds for your film?
That's one of the possibilities. But the problem with that is
That's nice of BR, to bring him also in discussion, because what others are talking about is something different only.
takes a long time to start a film. If you have the script ready, from that stage onwards, like to acquire those funds from foreign bodies, it's a tedious process and it takes a long time. But I can talk about my experience in Kerala. In a year there are like 200 films being made, and on a Indian scale it may be a small number, but for me, I still consider
It's
it as
no more a small number.
yeah, it's a big number, right? So and that means that so many people are investing money, and most of those films are not a
Yeah.
commercial hit. Most of like
Okay, I've heard that Malayalam industry was in a loss, because yes, they were films where 200 crores, 100 crores, many multiple of them, they made 1,000 crores, but they also invested a lot of money in making movies which also failed. So there's actually a loss of 700 crores. That's what I've heard. I'm not really sure about the details, but as an industry, they are in loss, because only 10, 12 films really worked. They made a big noise and made a lot of money, but what about the other 100 that did that, went down? So it was a loss for for a year as a whole.
more than 90% of those films, from what I heard recently from some producer friends, that more than 90% of those films don't make money back. So but if that is the reality, it is not even 50-50. It's like 90 versus 10 is what. So if that is the reality, if you can bring down the expense and still make good films, that is where I'm betting it. I'm not looking at box office hit at all. Like that's a myth. I'm not chasing that. I don't want to chase
Nice.
that. But for me, what I'm looking for is what I subjectively what I call is a good film, and that is only what we can produce.
So you're looking at, I need X amount of money to make a movie. If I get that, that's what I need.
Yeah.
It's kind of but then where does the business model come in? Because
See, I am not a business.
Exactly. That's what, can I just ask Vamsi also one thing?
Yeah.
Because Vamsi, we're on a panel where Vamsi said that the film that makes the most money is my biggest success. Correct? And that's what she said is a very honest perspective.
I
that
really
he's
like his
coming.
honesty, actually. So,
He came and said, for me, the one that makes the biggest money is the biggest success.
Right.
That's his motto in life. That's his reason for a production company. His is different, his is different, his is different, right? The creative producer, the word that Bonisa loves to use, the creative producer is the person who, let's say, he has a musical score for a film which he doesn't like. Now, if he changes the musical score, it will cost this much money. He will miss his release date that he has promised. And if he still goes ahead and does it, Vamsi will not do it. Because Vamsi has already said the best case that he will work towards is to maximize his success profit ratio, correct? So if the date has to be met, the date has to be met. He won't push the film by 6 months to qualitatively, subjectively improve the score. Correct, Babu?
I think he will. He will.
No, I'm
Sometimes
saying
we have to.
that is a small adjustment. I'm saying Boni sir has made a film
Actually, I
across years.
have a track record of not meeting the release.
film, right? If,
Compromise against
No,
subjective
because
word, no?
sometimes after making the film and we see it in the edit, it is crap.
Right?
And then you can't put our brand and release that movie. Then we are all forced to move it.
But that's a money call.
I think the
That's
criteria
a-
would be different.
Correct. So
But I just want to again, sorry, I'm coming back to the theaters because I feel somewhere as producers, we have to-
I feel like everyone has their own topic to discuss, and whenever it goes to someone else, they start a new different topic or they want to talk about, and then they're like, okay, now I'm getting to talk. I want to talk about the previous topic I want to talk about. Let's finish that.
exhibitor panel.
no, we
So
have
you're digging a hole for yourself.
No, we have to respect the audience. No, I'm telling you that
Right.
because we have to respect the audience. If we are going to take their money and ask them to come to the theaters, we have to show them what they like. Okay, and I don't believe that small films don't run. I started my career where I opened my theater with two films. One was Ravan and one is Kalavani. Okay, Ravan had a phenomenal opening, but the movie's report was mixed. Okay, and it was an MG. Kalavani was again a small producer, new hero, new star cast, very, very small film. And it was a multiplex. I gave them one small screen, and that movie went on to actually help me pay the MG for the big film.
Look at that.
So it is not that small films don't work and audiences don't come. It is just that because I really feel, and I watch all my films only in theaters, the taste and moods keep changing, the trends keep changing.
You made a lot of money
So-
with Love Today.
Yes, we made a lot of money with Love
So I
Today.
think there are two
Without a
types of
hero.
small films. One is I don't
one-
him. I see what the kind of I hate to use this word, but small budgeted maybe films that he makes is not the Kalavani, which is still an enjoyable for a mainstream audience. This is a more rigorous art house kind of film. So that's why I was asking him that
But
question.
we don't have an industry that supports it.
No, see,
Yeah, I think
let me
so.
That is
just
the
put
truth.
She's honest. I would say she's honest
That's
about
the
it.
truth.
my point on this. See, for instance, these so-called small budgeted films which are rich in content. Now, for instance, Lapata Ladies may have collected just about 17-18 crores, but the main revenue came from the OTT platform and the kind of value it will get in overseas, after getting the awards. Similarly, its 12th Fail. That film did a business of about 70-80 crores, which was absolutely phenomenal for a Vikrant Massey film. He was not a so-called mainstream actor.
Yeah.
And at the same time, he had not sold the film. He had that confidence that he released the film all India on his own.
Yeah.
He gave it for just distribution on
Virubhadra Chopra, he didn't like in most films you sell the OTT rights beforehand because you'll make the money. So whatever happens in theaters, it doesn't affect how much money you're getting. So, but he was like strong. He was strong about his film. He stood strong and he said, "No, I'll release first, and then the success, and then he could demand anything he want from OTT."
whatever commission he had to pay. But then today, he's planning to release the making of 12th Fail in cinema halls.
He's released it today, I think.
I don't know if it is released, but
Zero se restart, no? That's
I don't know. I don't know. But I was told that he's planning to release the making of that film in theaters.
right.
Now, how many shows he gets, I don't know. But this, like Lagan, when it released, video play was a big,
Right.
video was just, growing rapidly. So he released the film on video, and after say about 7, 8, 10 years, he released the making of Lagan again.
Right.
And that also fetched him a very good price. So there are, new verticals which open up. And for small films which don't get a proper theatrical release, if they're appreciated, there are these verticals which will, cover their cost and give them profit too.
Right.
Like Payal Kapadia, if she definitely has reason to talk of all what she is, that she didn't get a proper release thanks to the big films or whatever the showcasing was. But I'm sure with the kind of awareness that film has created, there will be ample of revenue from these other verticals, which will make up. the cost of the film and
But
maybe give a
Payal's is
profit.
not against other big films. Payal's was her film getting, you put it on a ticket window, nobody came to buy the ticket, is not another film's
Yeah,
problem.
but that's not the fault of the exhibitor.
That's not the fault of the exhibitor either. That's just the, what, like she's
Don't
saying,
look
what
at
people
her.
choose. No, exactly. I only exhibitor reference.
She's a nice person, actually.
Yeah, she's a friend of ours, yes. So, yeah.
No, I mean, so just to kind of wrap up, because I wanna ask you, given the fact that
It's like, endless discussion, like, because the exhibitors, the producers, the actors, this, that, budget, it all has to come down to efficiency, right? The model needs to be efficient at every stage, the making stage, budget stage, how much fees actor is taking, is it making sense or not, how much screens you're putting out, what's the budget, like how many exhibitors can put it, like every way you have to make the system more efficient, then only it will be profitable for everyone.
the initial thrust for this, what we got, see, when I say pan India, I don't necessarily mean, like he said earlier, when a film worked in Tamil, it would get remade in Telugu, Hindi, or a film worked in Hindi, it would get remade in Telugu, Tamil. So in a way, movies were pan India like that, but they were restricted to their own. The person in let's say in Andhra Pradesh did not know about the Hindi version. But today two things for me define a pan India film. One is it is dubbed in many languages, so simultaneously goes into like multiple languages as an initial release. That's one
if
thing.
you see all the languages on the poster, doesn't mean it's a pan-Indian film.
No, plus
They're just putting it to project it like a pan-Indian film. But all those films who have all the languages on the poster doesn't mean it's a pan-Indian film. But some films have that kind of a thing that they'll work in Hindi also.
So what is your, like, what do you think today, given the fact that like from a pure producer point of view, if you want to make this 1,000 crore film or whatever it is, what is the model?
He's making enough money making small films, other films that he's making.
Okay, so like you're not interested.
In fact,
okay,
I
cool.
need to rub his hand to see that I also make money for the film that I'm making.
So everybody in their life want to make a big event film like Kalki, Pushpa 2 and everything. So the other film making good money.
No, he doesn't want to.
No, I don't.
No, like us. Like,
Correct.
like me, Archana ji, we definitely want to make event films only. That's how whole of India will know what we are doing.
I think you
No,
should.
Boni sir knew that Lucky Bhaskar was a good film, but he didn't know who made it. No, but Pushpa 2, he knows that who's the producer, who's the director of the film. We always want to make event films where everybody will know us. That these are the guys who made Pushpa 2, these are the guys who made Kalki, these are guys who made Triple R.
That literally seduces the audiences to the theaters. If
sir.
the filmmaker is known, for instance, see, in my opinion, Satyam Shivam Sundaram was not Raj Kapoor's best film, but yet the distributors made money on that film. So that is the goodwill of the filmmaker.
Yeah, definitely.
Now that could last for one film, that could last for two films. Like Manmohan.
Brand, it's like a brand, right? Like SS Rajamouli is a brand now. Whatever he makes, Christopher Nolan is a brand now. So if a producer or a director, a filmmaker becomes a brand, then whatever he does, people will come and watch it.
He made a spate of hits. Ganga Jamna Saraswati was not a good film, but still it covered money where the distributors are concerned. So this is
That's what I'm saying, sir. That is the goodwill we kind of try to develop in South. So that's why we make films like Jersey and Lucky Bhaskar also, so that both the OTT platforms and the theaters believe us. When we make films like Jersey, Lucky Bhaskar and stuff, the audience or the OTT people or the multiplex, all the overseas audience believe that, oh, these guys can make good films also. I mean good content films also. When we make commercial films like Tillu Square, Gunturkaram, these stuff, all the theaters like Archana ji will be happy if Tillu Square releases in that, because it will run for more days, more shows, more audience. That is more important. So we need to balance it out like that.
Boni sir, the Satyam Shivam Sundaram time that sir is talking about, those 4 decades had a properly concrete movement called parallel cinema in India.
Yeah.
Today, the question that they're asking, they're saying there's no place in the cinema for anything other than the studio film, the big ticket film, right? So then you have to find an avenue where people like the other side can go and say, yeah, this is where I found my success. So let's say that's OTT. Who's dominating OTT sales and purchases?
The big ones.
Right.
So content is king, good film is not the right way to think.
That the parallel cinema that you were talking about is also funded by the government. So there was Film Federation of India, then NFDC. So that was
some affirmative action was taken.
funded. It's only
NFDC. So NFDC
there was affirmative action in favor of good content.
Now that has gone.
So when Satyajit Ray's films released, there was queues of people standing outside the theaters screening it in a film festival in France or in Italy.
Right.
In India, nobody went to throng theaters to watch, just like Kurosawa in Japan. They were not box office directors. So where is the space today? Will it be made by OTT or the government or by kind-hearted people who won't go to theater but will encourage the film somewhere else?
But at the same time, so that, there are...
No, so somebody I was
It's a never ending, as I said before, like system needs to be efficient, right? Like, and it's hard, right? Like, if see, it's all comes down to the society and the economics that's going on, right? Nowadays everything is getting expensive, things. And so in the world, so many things are going on that it's not a great time financially, if you see, if you invest your time into that. So that will, triple effect, keep going down in the pocket of a common man. So it starts from there. It's not that if everyone's happy in life, they have money, everyone's making good money, there's a happy society, economically friendly, everything is good, then people will, invest more money. That's the good economics work, right? You want the people earning money to spend that money more. But if they are trying to save it, not spending a lot, because things are very expensive, they want to save it for the future, this and that, because they're unsure about the future, that's not a good society time, not economically friendly, and that will affect every venue, like even sales of clothes or different things in the store, like everything, not just cinema. So it all comes down from there.
thing is, not all big films deserve to be given this people want to see you, so we will stage you. Not all small films are going to disappoint you by saying people will not watch. Because it's very subjective. Every individual producer's story is different. Vamsi's every individual film is his own reset and start from scratch. Same for a self-funded producer. Same for a person looking for funding. Same for an exhibitor, distributor, producer.
But there is one more vertical which has come up now.
Sure.
There are countries, there are states who offer subsidy. There are producers now aiming to only make money from subsidies. So this was never there earlier.
So shoot subsidies or release subsidies?
No. For instance, UK has a 40% subsidy.
Correct, shoot subsidy.
You shoot a film out there and whatever you spend. Like in India today too, there are states who are giving us, there are incentives so that their states could be promoted. Like in Switzerland, yes.
But are everyone getting it? That's also the point, right? Like Payal Kabadi has talked about it, that she is not even received, this money she's supposed to from the Indian government. So like there's so many that the promises are there, but it's not really efficient, not functional that well.
Chopra was honored because they thought it was Yash Chopra film which made Switzerland as a destination for the tourist. Like when I shot my film in Alaska, I was told by the American consulate people out here that the tourist traffic for Alaska, all these cruises had picked up big time because they saw Alaska for the first time.
This was Pukar, right?
Pukar, yeah. So these things today have added value to a filmmaker. Now, if I'm planning a film of that scale, I would, for instance, even Bahubali today could have been made in England because the entire film was shot on sets. They could have put up sets out there and got a huge amount of subsidy. Like my new film that I'm planning, there are 2 films.
But there are, I think, more factors than just getting subsidy, right? Like the ease of shooting in England, but everything will be more expensive there. To carry all those people you want, to there and live there for that 500 days. Like you're getting 40% off, but the money you're spending is 100 times more. Like then it doesn't make sense.
I want to shoot in different countries. I'm just fishing to see which country offers me more subsidy. Okay, I don't want to depend on the box office and today you see most of these OTT platforms, they become a little tight where the buying spree is concerned. What they did during the COVID times was different, and in today's times it's absolutely different.
The bubble is broken. They were just putting so much money. Just give us. We'll buy your film. We want your film on our platform. But now they're like, oh, these people are not watching it. We don't have enough money. So now, we have to be conjuice.
Today there are not, many films which are pre-sold. They wait for the film to be complete, see the film, or sometimes even post-release. And then accordingly they offer the money. So it is not that this vertical is, but the subsidy is whether the film is a hit or a fail, you will get. Yeah. UP government has they have their own rules. Karnataka has it, and Jharkhand had it.
Boni sir, if I can request something from the stalwarts of big ticket film production. I'll request you people. Just like Sony Pictures has Sony Picture
It's
Classics.
more like sarcasm, and
No, darling, I swear to God, this is coming from my heart. No, this is all big producers because you're winners. You're winning according to your model. Just like Sony Pictures has Sony Pictures Classics. If you could differentiate, in some ways support films that, I know I'm not asking you to lose money. But, to also kind of be where content is different kinds of content.
But
right?
Don, have you done that? Have you approached, let's say, bigger film producers and said, can you fund a film of mine? Have you done that?
But a lot of people, they do it. Maybe not enough to make it a movement or a parallel situation.
No, not really. But the people I have spoken to, I felt that the language itself was different. So immediately the criteria is different. Like we said earlier, what they are looking for is the box office hit, and
I think, see, this going to, this whole thing that, oh, billionaires have so much money, why they cannot just give it away. That's not how it works. That's not how they made money. There's a system how they made money. They put in the work, this, that, they made their time, and they believe what money they made, it's a value. It's not they didn't get, they are billionaires, they were born billionaires and nothing they did and they just got the money, they were lucky. It's not that. So you cannot have this expectation that they are rich so they should help other people. That should be their own decision. Just because they're rich, that they should feel guilty and they should put their money, spread their money, everyone they should give money. That's not the right thing. And even in films, there's a big producer who made 1,000 crores, that it should come from that producer himself, that okay, I want to invest in smaller films. But you cannot say, no, you made 1,000 crores, now you invest and lose money, even if it doesn't make money. They're businessmen. They think in a way. They'll be like, if I'm investing money, I want to make it back. But in this case, it doesn't work like that. So if it's not a passion project they're doing, okay, I want to help a filmmaker, I really like his films, I know he requires small budget, I'll give him his budget, I don't mind losing that money. But you don't get many people like that. So that expectation is not right. Do what you can do. Don't ask other people to do what you want them to do.
but what I can offer is something different. So we don't come on the same page.
After some time, it just didn't work out.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. Okay.
I also think that we should look beyond some market that we are forgetting is why aren't we looking at our movies going into the international mainstream diaspora? For example, Burrows to me is one of that movie.
Is that
You
happening?
see,
Your films are
today,
going
today,
theatrical distribution.
if a big ticket film releases, they release across the America.
No, I'm not talking
Europe
about
and US, you're getting
See,
thousands of screens.
Like Slumdog Millionaire started with, say, just about
but that was
40, 50 screens.
Yeah, but that
and
was
finally it grew.
that was not an Indian filmmaker.
No, we Telugu films get a huge release in Telugu, Tamil films get a huge release in Singapore, US, everywhere.
US,
And
Europe.
as what?
But
as
then the
what-
ticket rates,
But is that
the ticket rates for Telugu film.
Guys, one person.
that is for the we're talking about the diaspora audience.
Indian
like for
audience
example,
living
today
abroad.
a Korean film, a Chinese film, they find their markets across. Now, for example, I'm looking
Yeah,
at
anime.
Burrows. I feel that it is something fantastic that we are so used to seeing 3D from outside inside, right?
It's also a children's kind of, it's got a children's film space.
No, it's children and family audience, but it's a fantasy. But Mohanlal sir and Mr. Anthony have taken 3 years to shoot it because it's so difficult to shoot on Mr. Santosh Shivan is the cinematographer. It's so difficult to shoot this.
She's really good. Trying to sell the film also here.
The other day I was sitting with Mr. Santosh Shivan and seeing the amount of effort it has taken, even when we are now deciding what's the trailer to do. The trailer has to be, it has to be in a 3D format. How do you cut it? Even for this programming, it's so tough to make a 3D film. And now this film that has been made on 3D with an international audience is finding its place in the Western normal. I'm not even talking, of course, like you said, sir.
See, what she's saying is that basically what RRR did. Like it went in West, the Western audience kind of accepted that film and it just, became a sensation. But that also Netflix. We are yet to see the same craze turning into a box office number. That when S.R. Rajamoully's next film releases there with wide screens in theaters, how many of those people will go to theaters to watch it? Or did they only watch RRR because it was on Netflix? Yes, there were special screenings happening across the country, but it still was not at a scale of having a wide release in US. And I think definitely, as knowing as Rajamouli, definitely partner up with a big distribution company in US. I think Disney wanted to work with him. The Paramount wanted to, Universal wants to get his next film rights to be and that will give them a big release there. But yeah, we still have to yet to see. What she's saying is that we made a 3D film, so we that audience, like how we watch Hollywood films, they will watch. No, that it's not easy. Like a RRR is like the one in 100 years that can go. Then let's see if Rajamouli can do it again. But it's not like I think they have better options for them. Like for our own country, watching the trailer of Barros, we are like, okay, interesting, something different. But at the scale of what we are used to, it's not really there. So to expect them to watch something less attractive than what they already get in their own market, why would they?
Everything reaches big monies. It makes even more than the Western films make, our Indian films make. But I'm just saying, taking every filmmaker wants to also have a wider audience. So from that point of it, I think
Again, if you want to do that you have to spend more money in the marketing. You have to go there, you have to make ties there, more connections, like it's more putting more money. That's it, nothing else.
should also start elevating our movies to a point that, and for example, a movie like this may cut. He doesn't understand the business, and he's saying things like the box office doesn't matter, and that may deter a financier if you say that to them.
No, I'm not saying that the box office doesn't matter, but what I'm I couldn't complete earlier. What I am trying to do is to slowly build a brand.
Correct.
Of this particular kind of films, instead of like we said earlier, we are all looking at family audience. In my case, it's not the case. I'm not looking at the family audience. I'm offering this particular kind of films, and I think that there is an audience for that kind of film, because during the COVID, that is when my films were being discussed, and people go to see them through OTT, and I could see that there was audience for these films, and so I'm trying to build on that. I'm trying to bring in more audience. I think there are audience, but we don't have the right venue to reach them. There is no middle people to there's no bridge between the audience and us. So
marketing, which is really the science, which is underplayed in
Again,
many
what
ways.
percentage of a film's cost goes into marketing is not a systemic thing. It's an individual call by that producer.
No, and also to kind of say, for example, a person who watches a Payal Kapadia film and appreciates it should definitely be able to watch Don Platra's Family, which is his last film, and appreciate it.
Interesting that his film's name is Family, but it's not for a family.
Because the film language is very similar. I'm not saying that the same film. You know what I mean, right? It's like, but for some reason, one film, because of certain, because it takes a certain route, it gets noticed more.
I mean, for example, a 12th Fail. I mean, really, it isn't your big ticket film,
but it is a mainstream film.
It's a big win. Yeah,
it worked because of its content.
It's a content.
So the thing here is, I don't know. I just feel that we don't need to demarcate, the film.
But the audience does.
What we need to do is, I think the audience is ready for it.
Do you think so?
The audience is ready for a good film, whether it is.
But the thing is,
audience is also not one person or a homogeneous group.
When you say the audience does not demarcate,
he's saying they're different audiences.
It's like his audience is different from his audience, right?
I just feel that.
See, the good bad film is that, like, a film can be good, but if there are no people watching it, how will people know it's a good film? That's also the point, right? It's not about, like, Family is a good film, but I don't know how many people have really seen it. That's the issue here. So good bad is not, I think, is the right terminology. It's it's just how much you're really putting out. Maybe there's a film which is reaching everyone, but people watching it and saying it's not a good film. That is also possible.
The message has to go out. Like, you take a Labbar Pandal, it opened small, but it just went on.
Right.
It's still a mainstream language.
No, see that. So that means there needs to be a different method of exhibiting this, or a different way. Like we don't have a Khan in India, and we don't have, unfortunately, we don't even have universities that fund. There are no filmmaking. Because typically because see, finally, independent films are very, very important for the fabric of filmmaking also. You can't do away. It is very important. There are many talents that come from there to mainstream, but that taste has to be developed, right? Like you have to give that exposure, maybe in a shorter format, and you have to embrace social media in a way. I think mainstream cinema has managed to embrace social media, your Instagram and shorts.
That's a very good point. That's a really good point. That if there is not a one theater where you can put your film and the people who want to watch can come there. There are people across the country, who would want to watch this film, but they're just segregated. You cannot have a one show for each one of them in their location. That's not possible. So I think social media is a big thing, that you use YouTube. You use social media to get those people on board, then get ready, then put out your older films on streaming, so they're available for everyone. If no your streamer is taking your film, put it on YouTube yourself. Ask people to donate or become a member, pay money or do anything, just crowdfund, like whatever, donate. You can have that in that, just put 15 minutes of it. If you really want to watch it, become a member, watch the full. So you have to develop these ways of really create. And I think there are film festivals, but how accessible they are. How many of these Indian films are being able to put, like, do we have just a Indian festival where all these indie filmmakers can submit their films and they can be watched. So like all these things, again, you need to create from the ground up. You have to create a movement or create a you know a field for it to grow over, to be built on. But yeah, it's because it's becoming very hard to compete with the main theaters, because there's bigger films are already competing, their own battle is going on, and you are not there. You can just not match it.
To a very large extent.
They have a lot of money to invest there too.
No, social media is not expensive. It's only about your creativity and the kind of reels that you come up with and content, because it can go viral very quickly.
Yeah.
You don't have to actually.
There's a filmmaker who made a Hindi film. It's about suicide prevention, and he's a content creator also, who uses techniques how to make guerrilla filmmaking, how to make filmmaking without any expenses, all of that. And then he made a whole film and then he put it out on social media. It's available on YouTube. They on Auto, they used to put their banners for the film. On social media, they went to different influencers of talking about films, share with them, they shared about the film. So that they invent, like, you have to it's about problem solving. You have this problem, your film is not able to go to theater, this and that. Social media is not expensive. It's about it's expensive when you say, okay, hire someone who will do social media, then it's expensive. You have to yourself get into the mud. If you think I'm a filmmaker, I'll not get into social media, that's not my thing. But if you want to really push your film ahead, then you have to get in and understand how it works and use that to benefit for your own thing, what you want to do.
In money to make something go viral.
Right now.
When you look back at Guntur Karam
That is
earlier
where I'm
this
coming
year,
from.
that was your biggest film this year.
Yeah.
But that was also the film that relatively underperformed.
No, box office it performed very
well,
yeah.
but there was a
in
perception.
a couple of areas it didn't. That doesn't matter actually.
Oh.
But on the overall front, we'll see how it performed on the revenue side.
Right.
The Mahesh Babu
thing is
film,
that
okay.
with Telugu right now, when you have a big star and a big production and a big director, that combination is still working.
It works in all languages, across all languages.
It works for the first week. For the first weekend, definitely. After that, content only works everywhere.
Yes.
Right.
But we
Good point.
pull out maximum 60 to 70% out on the 3-4 days on the first weekend itself.
And plus the other vertical, like I spoke of,
Yeah.
OTT and satellite and audio. The audio
For
market.
independent films who take satellite funding and then make the film.
Right.
Today, it's all the money when you go to OTT and satellite players, which friends of
Yeah,
ours in the
even
business
on
are
the
saying they don't have the funds because they're already overstretched
And
for buying
even
big
when
ticket
it comes
films.
to OTT, they want the films which work well on theaters
Yeah.
only.
Yeah.
That's
Now.
Now.
So because they also found their revenue model, right? They realize that not many people are logging in and watching it. So they again
Yeah,
want to
because they want to
increase
increase
their
their
screen time.
subscription.
Either they want to watch a good film, if that word of mouth comes out like that, or they want to watch a big hero film or a
Where
super hit
reviews
film on
become
OTT.
important.
But if the cameras are shut, I just want to confess. Hey, band kar do, ho gaya.
Now, we'll
Just
save
wrap
this
it
for
up
the
and
end.
then we'll.
Yeah.
Okay, अब जैसे सब बंद है ना भैया.
No. We'll do
Let's
this
just
at
wrap
the
it.
end.
We'll just wrap it up and then
wrap
we'll
it
switch
up.
off the camera.
So,
Epic. Epic. You want to say something? Recently I've met few people who are into the industry, and I also heard some very fascinating stories, which again I cannot share. Privacy. I don't want to. Again, I just heard from someone, so just that'll be irresponsible of me of just hearing something from someone and just sharing it with everyone. That's not right. Also, so I've also heard some very very different things of what happens in the industry. But yeah, this was funny.
So I think this is again one of those things where we can only
Let's wrap it
initiate
up
a
because I
discussion.
can hear people digging
Right,
some
right.
kind of
So that's what
renovation.
I'm trying to wrap up.
When I was young, we used to go to discotheques. Around 1:32, they used to put on the lights. Okay, it's time for you to go.
So we'll put on the lights now.
So the owner of this place has started,
So you went to last week also to discotheque. What, when you were young?
So again, these things can only initiate a discussion. We cannot really come to a conclusion in 1 hour. But thank you all for participating. Thank you, Don. Thank you, everybody. And Archana, I think now I'm like really.
You call for
are you a producer?
You call for
or are you
another
an
forum with
exhibitor? No,
exhibitors.
so,
She's a one-woman industry. What are you
yeah,
gonna
you're
do
like
now?
everything. So this is like you just have to become an actor, and then next year can I get an actors roundtable as well. So.
நல்ல கதை இருக்கு ma'am, கேக்குறீங்களா?
Interestingly, Boniji is also a pan-India producer because
Yeah,
you
I've
have-
made films in 6
he's
languages.
made- yeah, you see
No, but
that's
he spoke
Made
of
in Marathi,
Chandralekha.
Bengali, Tamil, Telugu.
He spoke of Chandralekha, but he's the almost so many films of his. Of course, he's made like smaller films like Wo Saath Din, but when you look at Ukki Rani Choro Ka Raja,
No,
when
but
you
you
look at
should
those
hear his
films,
stories of a time when he
Those
used to
are-
wait for
those
the
are-
report of a South film to see what the content is. And then to decide if it will work if we make it here.
Yeah.
And then to make it correctly and then
Yeah,
to do the
right.
business and then
No,
to
but
win.
Out of the 45 films
It's a
I've
long
made,
process.
16 are 65 are remakes of South Indian films.
Even கொண்டே இருப்பாரு அவரு.
So even now in my kitty, I've got almost 22 films remake rights.
wow.
He's got a massive IP catalog.
so
And
Okay.
you see, ho gaya band.
Please don't. Oh my God! Again, don't make those remakes, please.
Ho gaya.
so anyway, thanks everyone. Any closing thoughts?
No.
Okay, done. Thank you everyone. Thank you. Yeah,
Thank you.
Band kar do bhaiya.
yeah, done. He wants to say something. Yeah.
It became black and then they cut it. Nice. I wonder what they talked about there. But yeah, we'll never get to know. But again, I think a discussion where we can just keep talking about it, but every step needs correction. Again, it all comes down to, if you really want or do something, you have to find a way to do it. You cannot, say this is wrong, this is not working, system is corrupt, and this is everything is, sitting there complaining will not solve anything. If you really want to do that, you have to find the way and do it. That's what I believe in terms of this films also. And the struggle is that theaters also need to make money. The exhibitors want to make money. They are spending so much money to run a theater. It's not very cheap, and to do that they have to find ways. They have to look for profit. They cannot look for, let's make this small film also to two shows every day. No one is coming. This is a waste of money and effort for them, though they'll not do it. It's a cycle. You cannot really change everything. It's just you can make it more efficient, and hopefully things change. At least at this way, people came together and share their thoughts, and now more people will be talking about this. What can be changed, what can be different. But yeah, they're just two different worlds, right? From 1,000 crores to someone just want to make a movie. That's it. So yeah, very very interesting, very well contained. Like, I think it was going offshoot many times. It's very it was getting very tricky, but I think it was very well managed by BR. And yeah, very very good wholesome discussion about the producers and what goes behind. But what are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments below, and you can share this video next, and I will see you next time.